I get off duty. That's Salisbury Steak, buddy.
Here's your holotape, Proctor. Hope the data on that thing was worth it.
Thanks. You know, it's good to see you're still in one piece. I wasn't sure what the Interceptor would do to you.
I wasn't worried. After all, I built the device myself.
I have confidence in everything I built too. But that's because I'll only deal with technology that I understand. Speaking of technology I don't understand, I'll get this holotape to Proctor Quinlan. I'm dying to find out what's on it.
Hopefully, it'll reveal a weakness in their defenses.
That would be the best case scenario. Before we jump to conclusions, let's see what Quinlan's scribes can get off of it. I'm sure the Institute has all of their data heavily encrypted, so it's gonna take some time to crack. After that, we'll have to see what we've got. There's no telling what we might have grabbed off their mainframe. In the meantime, your mission to recruit Dr. Lee still needs to be completed. I believe Elder Maxson gave you all of the details? Good luck, Knight. I'm busy right now, Knight. You have a mission to complete for Elder Maxson. I suggest you get... Liberating the Commonwealth.
I received word that Dr. Lee is returning to us. How cooperative do you think she'll be?
Will she be harmed if she doesn't cooperate?
Absolutely not. We have big plans for Dr. Lee, including the resurrection of one of her greatest creations. The last thing we'd want to do is kill the Golden Goose. As soon as Dr. Lee arrives, we'll interrogate her aboard the Prydwen. She's been under the Institute's influence for the last decade, and we can't afford to take any chances. Now, on to other matters. Thanks to the success of your reconnaissance efforts, it's time to advance our operations to the next phase. I want you to report to Proctor Ingram at the airport. She has a special project that requires your immediate attention. Once again, Knight, you don't fail to impress. Dismissed.
Excuse me, Proctor
I bet
Ingram.
you're eager to get your hands dirty on our new project. How much has Maxson told you about it?
Well, he seems to feel it's pretty important.
Important is an understatement. We're pouring every resource we have into this thing. I hope it's worth it. Come on, it's this way. Unless you're blind as a bat, I'm sure you've noticed that we've been building a gantry on the tarmac. Maxson and Kells have been looking for something that'll tip the balance when we go toe-to-toe with the Institute. Now, the Prydwen might be a big beast, but she's not built for fighting. That's where our new project comes in.
With all these planes that were blown across the airport, it's amazing the tower survived.
This storage bay full of parts is what's left of Liberty Prime. The Brotherhood used it in the Capital Wasteland as a weapon against the Enclave. It's the most advanced robot the Brotherhood has ever had at its disposal. Unfortunately, Liberty Prime was destroyed in the line of duty. I've spent the better part of the last few years piecing him back together. And if you think that was easy, try rebuilding a Protectron while you're blindfolded. In order to get Liberty Prime fully operational, we're going to need your help.
It'll take a miracle to get this pile of junk operational.
You think he looks rough now? You should have seen him when I unsealed the salvage crates filled with his parts. Now, the good news is that we've got most of Prime's parts fully assembled. The bad news is that it's gonna take more than a few rivets and some spot welding to get them working again. The first problem is his CPU. It's fragile, and every time we try to feed power to it, it blows itself out.
There's gotta be a way to solve that.
I do all the maintenance on the Pridwin, so you'd think it'd be a snap. As much as I hate to admit it, Prime's power systems are out of my league. Luckily, you were able to convince Dr. Madison Lee to return to the Brotherhood. She was on the original build team for Liberty Prime a little over a decade ago. I've already spoken to her, but she's reluctant to work on Prime for some reason. If you could get her down here to lend a hand with his power system, we can get the big guy moving.
To all personnel, please think of your brothers and sisters down below.
My duty shift was long.
Thoroughly secure all gear while on the flight deck. Thank you.
If you're here to talk me into working on Liberty Prime, you can forget it.
You promised you'd help us.
You're right, I did. But you neglected to mention that I'd be asked to work on Liberty Prime. I've been down this road with the Brotherhood before. Why would I make the same mistake twice?
Help us end the Institute's greed.
All those people dying in the Commonwealth while I was surrounded by food, medicine, and comfort. How could I be so blind to the Institute's greed? Oh, you really know how to push my buttons, don't you? Tell Proctor Ingram to get her scribes ready. It's going to take a hell of a lot of work to get Liberty Prime back online, but we'll get it done.
Hesitating to pull the trigger on any of the Commonwealth scum can be fatal.
If it looks dead, put one more in his head for good measure.
Proctor Ingram?
Well, things are off to a good start. Isn't that right, Doctor?
I hope so. Prime suffered some significant damage to his memory core. I wish your people would have been a bit more careful, Proctor. The good news is that the damage isn't irreversible, and I should be able to get the power flowing into his CPU core without overloading. If your people stay out of my way, that is.
Charming, isn't she?
Sorry about that, Ingram.
Don't worry about it. We might be butting heads on a few issues, but I've dealt with worse. Besides, Dr. Lee's worth all the aggravation. We're working with one of Prime's original designers. I don't see it getting any better than that. In fact, since things are going so well, we're gonna have you start building his electromagnetic actuators.
You're acting like I know what those are.
Oh, I know you haven't the faintest idea what I'm talking about. I just like watching you squirm. The actuators are what allows Liberty Prime's arms and legs to move. Prime's new limbs are way too heavy for the simple hydraulic pistons he had in the past. We're gonna have to rip those out, construct a brand new system using electromagnets, and install them in his limbs. What we need you to do is build the actuators for us.
Now that you know what the actuators are, you need to know how to make them. These are the plans and the materials list. Don't lose them.
Now, before you get that look on your face, you'll be happy to know that we have plenty of the raw materials on that list right here at the airport. The only thing we need you to head out and find is a high-powered magnet. According to Proctor Quinlan, the best place to find one is in any of the ruined hospitals around the Commonwealth. We've already sent out a few teams to find the rest of the high-powered magnets you'll need. They should be back by the time you return.
Once you start building the actuators, we need one for each limb, so you'll need to make a total of 4. Good luck.
Facilities like this were funded by privately owned corporations, more interested in making a profit than helping mankind.
Going up. Ground floor. Ground floor. Going.
If anyone attacks this place, they'd need an army to burn us out.
Ingram?
That's all